Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Bonbon Island with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB, you're very welcome. Yes, this is the show you've been clamouring for. It's the Let's Play. Hey Bonbon, do a Let's Play, build a city, you've been saying for so long. And I don't feel I can meet the high standards of the likes of Skibbeth and $2.20 and Strict Toaster and the likes, but I can still do a Let's Play with my own twist, something that would fit the channel. So I'm going to be introducing you to a few mods in every episode and a few assets and also maybe some techniques as we go along. Now this is the work that we did last week, started the residential and a little bit of industrial as well in the top left hand corner of your screen there, and we'll be making some adjustments to that as we go along, as we introduce a few of these mods as we play. Now let's have a little look at the top down so I can show you what sort of stuff we're going to be doing today. Here's the build so far. The map is kind of split into two areas. We have at the top of the screen there a splash of residential, which we'll be expanding on, but not in today's show. That'll be as of next week, where we'll be doing a little bit of theming up there as well. And I've separated it from the industrial area down here, and I kind of want to split the two up with a highway which will follow this kind of route, as much as possible following the roads that are already down to start off with before going elevated, but we'll show you that at ground level in a moment. I'm going to try and keep the old bridge in place that's there as well, while having the main highway bridge going kind of over it. I think it might lead an interesting aesthetic to it. So anyway, the outside connections are actually right underneath us right here, and we're going to draw the highway kind of along this route here where this existing road is. I'm a big fan of trying to keep things roughly as they are in any map, and then we go elevated from this point here and stay elevated all the way across before ending up at some kind of intersection in this area here when we come back down to ground, again keeping that old bridge roughly in situ. So let's reel this camera back to where we started that journey. Grab Forest Brush by TPB and start clearing the route where the highway is going to go. Now Forest Brush is a great mod for painting down forests, but also for deleting trees as well, and I've used it here for convenience. So Forest Brush there by TPB. And now we're going to have a quick bulldoze of the existing road network that we're going to be following the route. So I'm going to leave the incinerator in place for now, and we'll connect that up before the episode is finished. Now, next mod. This one is our feature mod for today. It's the Parallel Road tool by S__T. Now I'm not too sure what the two underscores would ideally be, but all I can do is say hi, and we'll crack on from there. So yes, the Parallel Road tool, it's I'm not going to do a full tutorial here, but it's a great little mod for getting roads to run parallel with each other. Now, it's not just roads, it'll work with any network you like whatsoever. You can stipulate the distance between the roads, you can maybe have a tram running down the middle of them, you can have walls running on either side, and in fact there's going to be something I'll be doing later on in today's episode, which in theory I could have done with the Parallel Road tool, but I didn't think at the time, and so we've done it by hand. You'll see. So anyway, we're getting to this point here. At that point, we're going to go elevated and go over the existing roads there. We're going to actually use these roads for a little bit of like a historic old road layout underneath the highway. Although these are obviously from the old farms, we can just assume that the farm tracks would have been upgraded, tarmacked, and they would just kept them in place. And that's kind of how older towns and older cities evolve. Certainly the town that I'm in has very much got a load of these neighbourhoods that are built on old farm areas or farm layouts. In fact, there's like parts of my town that have actually got the name farm within them, where the farms have long since been removed. So next up, I'm going to do something about these highway ramps. Also, this particular ramp, where it goes elevated, we'll be doing some aesthetic work to this ramp a bit later on. It won't be to everybody's taste, but it's not always about having a beautiful city. It's about playing about, experimenting, doing things, seeing if they work, and if they really don't work for you, coming back and redoing them in a different style. So anyway, we'll now pop in these highway ramps. Now this is where things are going to start going wrong for me in the build. As you can see there, whoa, it was way too high. And you can see the lack of experience that I have compared to, switch the snap to off there, compared to the likes of your Skibbeths and your $2.20s and such, because I spend most of my time just looking at people's maps or building maps. Actually getting down to ground level and doing a city build is something that I'm not massively experienced in. I do enjoy doing, of course. That's the whole point of this game, is mostly just to have fun, and if I can create something that might inspire you to try something a little bit different, or to use a mod that you've never seen before, then maybe I'm doing things right. Maybe. There's a little bit of shenanigans going on under here, and I will be doing a lot of editing of the work that I've done under here during the rest of this episode, so don't go thinking that this is the final job. I had a lot of tweaking with that area before I got to the end. Pillars also, while I'm going to get the pillars correctly aligned on the river here, I'm going to be doing a little bit of pillar work in a later episode along the rest of the highway, because there are a few spots that I'm really not too happy with, but certainly the vanilla placement of the pillars is more than adequate. And yeah, the old bridge there, we're going to leave in situ, and we're actually going to use that as the old link between the two sides of the river, while this highway will be more for dealing with outside connections and that kind of thing. So yes, what I'm thinking here is maybe we could have extended the 2-lane highway even further, and how I do the slip roads over here, or is it highway ramps? Slip roads, I use the word slip roads. Highway ramps, some of you will be using as a term. Let me know in the comments which is the right one for you, and I may switch to whichever is the most popular, or I may not. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I'm going to do a little connector road on the underside here, and then link this via the old bridge which was there. We're going to delete those 2 pillars. We're just going to move the old bridge, pretend it was a little bit further across. Listen, it was my map. It's my rules. My map, my rules, my city. I break my own rules as often as I like. It's fine. Nobody's going to tell me off, apart from you, obviously. Clearly, it's going to make that bridge just a little bit more pleasing in height, so that it's not dragging its concrete bottom in the river, and carry on in from there. So yes, now I wasn't really sure how best to do this particular intersection. I was thinking, I don't know whether I'll show you the end result by the end of this episode, and you can let me know whether you think I've actually gone 2 lanes or 3 lanes too soon or too late. You'll get the gist once I get to the end of that one. But again, doing the same technique as before. I'm not too worried about where the node placements are at the moment. I just want to get the actual basics, the basis for the layout in place, and then we can adjust the heights later on and make sure that everything feels about right. So anyway, I'm going to do a loop around here because I need to be able to get that bridge road underneath and around as well, which you'll see not so much in today's episode, but as we go on the city build, I really want this to be accessible underneath there, and the only way to have done that was to actually loop it up and around. But you'll get your head around this one as the city build progresses. Now, if you missed episode 1, where I covered the kind of idea for, this is all in the start square here, the kind of idea that I've got for this area. This side of the river will contain more housing, more residential, because always going to need more residential. Probably the old part of town, just roughly where we're standing now, maybe gets a little old harbour kind of area going on in there, but we'll see how that goes as it goes. We'll also have the tourist area and a shopping mall area somewhere tucked down here as well, before we run out of the flat buildable space and start going into the more rugged areas, where we'll probably have some like suburbs pushing up into those areas. That's sort of the way I foresee this going, but certainly the flat buildable areas will be residential, tourism and old port town on this side of the river, which is why we're connecting it across here. Okay. Now I'm appreciating that this only connects in one direction, whilst the other ramp only connects in the other direction, and between these two the traffic can't switch back and forth. Nothing's going down into the new build area or coming off of the new build area onto this highway and crossing across the river, which is why we have the old bridge in place. The old bridge is there so that the traffic will be able to switch from our current part of the build across to this side of the river and back. And then of course if it wants to get onto the highway and flow out, we'll pop in like a roundabout or some kind of system to handle the traffic to be able to do that. Now I know there's going to be a few of you giggling at the work that's going on at the moment, fixing the same little bit of highway ramp over and over and over again. And of course this is the thing, when you're actually working it within the game, sometimes you fix something, you get it looking right, and it makes the bit just a little bit downstream or up road from it doesn't look quite so good anymore, so you have to go and fix that again, and then that fix makes the bit a little bit further up the road look also a little bit dumb, and then you have to go and fix that again, and then you realize that actually the road height where you started off wasn't quite right, and then you have to work back down again, and so forth and so on. So yes, I'm aware that some of the work I'm doing here looks a little bit silly, that I'm just doing the same bit over and over, but you don't know for sure exactly how it needs to be until it's down. It's not like we're spending months and months and months as structural engineers planning these things. It's just trying to see what works. Now I know that these loops here, I did mention it a little bit earlier, these loops, they do join up with the highway quite a long way down. They could join a little bit closer, almost to where they loop around there. So I'm going to require you guys to let me know into the comments whether you think these slip lanes on this particular intersection here are too long, or whether you think I should be merging them back into the 2-lane highway to become 3 lanes whilst they're still elevated. I can see an argument for both. And that is why I'm asking you. And if enough of you think that actually, yeah, no, it needs to be whilst it's still elevated, then elevated we shall do. Okay, here we go again. Moving trees off of the roads and making sure that there is enough gap underneath the overpasses to allow for donut proofing. Yes, that old van with the donut on the top, he causes a lot of problems, you know. Yeah, plenty more work to do here as well. We'll be using things like node control later on in the episode so that we can get these junctions looking a little bit more slick, but more about that later. And so now on to the wonky about. This is effectively a roundabout. Got a little bit of inspiration from a similar kind of intersection in my hometown. It's a kind of area where maybe there used to be an old manor house, that kind of idea. And there were roads going around the manor house, and those roads became major roads, and eventually though that the house would have fallen into disrepair, maybe been demolished just for safety, that kind of thing. But the roads around it remained the main routes. And so this is how I'm seeing this wonky about. This area here, the roads from the farm kind of went 3/4 of the way around this copse. And so I figured we could use that all the way around like that. Use that as an area where the traffic can flow one way around this little system and make it effectively a roundabout, even though it's not round. Doesn't need to be round, it will serve the same purpose and keep the traffic flowing between, this is like midway between the industrial area and the residential area that we've got in place at the moment. May want at some point to upgrade a few of these roads to 3 lanes here and there, but for now I'm happy with it to sit at 2 lanes, and we'll tinker with that if absolutely necessary. A lot depends. A lot will depend, because a lot of the traffic we've got coming through here at the moment is coming from the rock, where the traffic is spawning, and that traffic is going to link directly down the highways to the industrial area. That industrial traffic is not going to be coming. It'll be heading in from here. where we have the outside connection. Let's connect this up once and for all. I know it's going the wrong way. We'll fix that in a moment. But yes, so now we have edge of map traffic connection going on there. Remove some of those props from the original build as well. But yeah, so we now have a proper outside connection going on there. And we'll do a little bit of tapering of the roads here as well, so that it's a nice smooth tunnel entrance. About that sort of level, just trying to get these leveled out. And then we'll do some slopes on there as well, using the slope tool within Move It. There are other options available, but that will do absolutely fine for me. So that's a much smoother entrance into those tunnels. Let's move those trees back for aesthetic purposes. And then let's reconnect everything that we've just disconnected to do this part of the build. First of all, we're going to want the middle part of this wonky about to connect up to the new residential build area. Let's go through the gap in the trees again. I try and use the environment as much as possible to guide how this city would be. And then we'll pop the incinerator. We're going to move again. The incinerator was always just a temporary position there anyway. So again, as like we have the water and power is all a temporary fit just to get the city started. We'll do some kind of frontage road along here. Now, I'm not entirely sold on this frontage road for now. It'll do, but it's not exactly to my taste. But again, for now, it's not doing any wrongs, so it's going to connect up the garbage so we can have refuse trucks running around the city, making sure that everybody's happy. We don't get any grumpy faces and pollution from a build-up of waste. So, right, okay, let's move on to our second mod of today. This is Surface Painter by BloodyPenguin. Now, this is a mod which will enable you to paint the surfaces in the base textures, whatever textures you actually have there, which would be concrete, gravel, ruined, and fertile, so that you can repaint those if that's what you want to do. I've done that just to get rid of some of the glitchiness along the edge of the highways there, which again wasn't to personal taste. I think we'll do that actually all the way along the highway ramp. Is it a ramp or is it a slip road? In the comments, please. Thank you very much. Right, so that's now down and done. Now, unfortunately, I've got a little bit of lost footage at this point, and you've missed me popping down a few of these along the edge of that elevated ramp. These are Old Stone Key Plane by Avanya. Other keys are available, but this one was exactly the aesthetics that I wanted for lining of this road, giving a more polished effect. I have also painted in the infills there. That grey is the concrete texture using Surface Painter. Now, to be able to do this, you're going to need Key Anarchy from BloodyPenguin. That will enable you to put keys places where there isn't water along the edge. So it removes the need for water, basically, for your keys. And you can get some really good effect along your underpasses and many other things, many other ways to use this mod. On top of that, I'm using a mod called Rotterdam, which is the road texture terrain edge remover. Trying to remember all of the words there, by XLF1024. That terrain stress that you can get when you push two things too close together on the edge of the road, you know, with that black ziggy-zaggy line. Yes, the mod Rotterdam will remove that for you, and it'll make it just look so much better. I'm causing some grief here. Let me do something. There you go. Little link around there. I think it looks quite good like that, actually. I'm going to do the same over on the other side of the ramp. There's a little bit less room to work with here as well. So let me just do that. Let me grab this multi-node ramp here. I bent it around like that, so it means that I haven't actually got the ramp going in under the highway, making it very hard to find the exact node that you want to work with. So that's all I've done there is exactly like this. Look, I've got nodes going underneath the road. I was trying my hardest to avoid that, and I still didn't manage it, even though I knew it was always a possibility. Right, that node is now definitely out in the open. Definitely out in the open. Gotcha. And where are we going to pop this? Where are we going to pop this? Let me try this again. I'm going to start this from a little bit further out rather than right at the edge. Where would we? Probably about there, maybe. We'll get there. About there. That's more like it. Probably still don't even need it from that point. We'll get there, but yes. So yes, so you can do little bits of extra work along with Kianiki, Rotterdam, and of course all of this is being done with the Move It mod. You don't need me to tell you about Move It. It's the essential mod amongst a couple of other essential mods, depending on how you play the game. But yes, I would definitely say if you like doing any kind of creative work within City Skylines, moving of roads, just getting everything looking exactly how you want it to. If you're that perfectionist, what's going on here? What is going on? That node is annoying me. Can you please not annoy me? That is... I'm going to put a segment in this thing if it's the last thing I do. Right, okay, that's it. Miffed. Fixed. Almost got it. Just didn't want to bend. What was wrong with it? How very finickety was that? Anyway, yes, so just about done with this ramp, which means we're getting close to the end of the episode. Come on, we will get this. I just want to get rid of that glitching that's going on there. Move the node in. Move this node. Where's that node? Oh, flaming heck. Oh, I think I've got it. I think I've got it. Do you know what? I think that's good enough, as it's tucked underneath there anyway. Probably want to slope that a little bit as well. There you go, so we don't have the bump that was going on there. And probably going to play about with node controller and work on just making these corners a little bit smoother as well, just easier for turning, especially this one. That's a highway ramp. Let's move. That's better. Can't do anything with this one because we're so tight already. I'll just move that back anyway. And probably do the same with the wonky abouts. Just make these little turns a little bit easier as well. Probably going to cause some glitching by pushing nodes too close together. But we'll have to fix those again using Move It separately. As we put that one there. I think that's roughly okay. Roughly okay at first glance. This is where you do another flyover and then where you find things going very badly wrong indeed. Like we've got some glitching going on here. So I'm just going to try resloping this road and moving that. And that's now no better. Do you know what I'm going to do? I think we'll fill the center of that with another key. Going to do exactly the same as we've just done down each side, but just filling it, so we're not relying on the vanilla-ness of the game to do the work for us. We're going to just elevate this key between the two roads, and that node can come up and fill in the gap there. And then I think if we end up probably, well, we'll just get some bends into these segments. And then we can use the slope tool to hopefully, there we go, using node controller again to get the segments, the actual node sloping as well. And that seems to have done most of the trick. That's much cleaner. That's much, not quite the perfection that I was hoping for, but it is much cleaner and will do absolutely fine. And this was the end result. So we have our highway that's running across from the outside connection there, going across the river, linking up both sides of the river now, and the old bridge underneath there, which will connect up the local traffic from one side of the river to the other. This is more for the main traffic heading in and out of the city, just keeping it off of our local roads. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for making it to the end and bearing with me as I faff about, because I'm definitely going to be faffing about a lot with this build. Next time round, we're going to actually do some more zoning only. We're going to do some building themes. So the areas are going to look hopefully a lot more pleasing than our first residential area, and we may even upgrade that residential area as well. We'll worry about that when we start on that part of the build. But yes, I'll be back. I can't tell you when it'll be because I can't pump these out weekly or daily. But when I can, there'll be an episode 3. So join me for the island, and make sure you don't miss it. Hit the subscribe button and of course the notification bell. I've been BonBonB. You have been very, very welcome, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.